Hello everyone, my name is Jo and I run and write for Crescent Copywriting. So we're a small copywriting agency. We work with creative agencies that need some extra copywriting hands, and we also work with independent companies that just sort of see the value in really solid targeted content that ultimately increases brand awareness and sales. So I'm here today as part of Marketed Light, very exciting, to take you through a webinar about crafting a content strategy. Put me up here so my head's not so big. Crafting a content strategy that makes you memorable. Certainly in times like this, but always these days, you know, it's really hard to sort of stand out doing something different. So hopefully this webinar will give you some pointers as to how you can do that and how you can come up with a content schedule that sort of really works for you. So let's jump straight in with what we'll cover. First we'll look at the 5 main reasons for a content strategy, just so that we've got some background there, and then we'll look at sort of putting together a content strategy. I really like to use the who, what, why, where and when approach, and I'll take you that in take you through that in 3 different sections. So first of all, we're looking at the who. That'll be around sort of target audience and really sort of nailing who they are. Then we'll be looking at what, why and where. And these will come into sort of the what, the ideation, so coming up with loads of different ideas and how you can keep coming up with those fresh ideas so that you get noticed. And then we'll be looking at the why, the purpose, and then where. So what we'll be exploring there is how you purpose and then repurpose content, so that you get as much value out of it as possible. And we'll be looking at where you can use those different forms of content that you get from repurposing. And then we'll be looking at the where, the when, and that's actually putting the content schedule together. So 5 main reasons that you need a content strategy. Move myself over here so you can see. First and foremost, you know, it creates dedicated time to think about your content, and I'm going to talk a bit more about the thinking part later on. But if you decide to put a content strategy together, it means that you are blocking off time from your business day to actually think about the content. Now, whether you are a business owner or whether you're a marketeer, maybe you're in-house and a marketing team for an agency, maybe you're doing content strategies for various different clients, you know, for each different one you're giving yourself time to think. And this avoids ad hoc and rushed content. Now, there'll always be place for ad hoc content. Sometimes it's absolutely needed when something in the world goes a little bit awry, as it has this year. You know, you always need space within your content strategy to make sure that you are that you can create that ad hoc content to react to various things that might be going on. But it should be the exception to the rule. You shouldn't be creating content ad hoc week after week, because it's never going to be optimum. It's never going to get those optimum results. So having a strategy avoids this. It also keeps you on track. If you're like me, you like a list, you like something to tick things off. So the more that if you have it down on paper, then the more likely it is to get done. It's also easier to see what works. You know, if something worked, great, rinse, repeat, do something similar, the same. If something doesn't work, rinse it down the drain. So it's really good to be able to try different things and actually see what works. And above anything else, it makes you memorable. If you really give time to think about your content, then you will come up with ideas that will make you stand out from the competition, and you'll sort of be head and shoulders above the rest. I'm going to show you a little video that kind of summarizes this, that if you stay safe and samey, then you are just going to merge into the background with everybody else. The video is from a blog called 50 Odd, and it's a guy that creates loads of interesting content. It's well worth a look at the blog. And he shows that a lot of the COVID response adverts and marketing were very much the same. I'll let you watch it and then we'll go through a bit more later.
When we first opened our doors.
Since 1926.
Since 1978.
For 60 years.
For 75 years.
For over 80 years.
In 90 years.
Over 100 years.
Nationwide has been on your side.
Restaurants have always been there for you.
Nissan has been with you through thick and thin.
We will do what we've always done.
Take care of people.
We're people.
People.
People. People.
People.
People and family.
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 Family. Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Families.
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 Even now.
Especially now.
Especially now.
Right now.
Now more than ever.
More than ever.
Today, more than ever.
Today, more than ever.
In times like this.
At times like these.
During these difficult times.
In these troubled times.
Challenging times.
Trying times.
In these times of uncertainty.
During this time of great uncertainty.
During these uncertain times.
During these uncertain times.
In uncertain times.
In uncertain times.
Uncertain times.
Unprecedented times.
Unprecedented times.
Unprecedented times.
This unprecedented moment in our history.
It's time of social distancing.
While things have slowed down.
As we turn more inside.
While the doors may be closed.
While the distance between us has gotten bigger.
The more we stay apart,
we still find ways to stay close, even when we're apart.
even if we can't stand closer than 6 feet.
We can all stay connected to work, school, and most importantly, to each other.
There's still ways to touch each other.
All without leaving the comfort and safety of your home.
Without leaving the safety of your home.
From home.
Home.
Your home.
At home.
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 Home. Home. Home.
Home. Home. Home. That's the key.
Buick and GMC are here to help.
Con Edison is here to help.
Here to help.
Our teams are here.
We are here.
We're here.
We're here.
Here for you.
Here for you.
We're here for you.
We're here for you.
We are here for you.
We're here for you.
We are here for you. We'll be here for you.
Runnings is here for you.
We're still here for you.
We're with you. We're part of your community.
So you can trust us.
You can count on us.
And we'll get through this. Together.
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 Together. Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
We're together.
Together. And together.
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 MasterCard.
Okay, so yeah, it was really interesting, and I mean, individually lovely adverts, huge amount of budget spent on each one of those. However, they were all the same, you know, kind of. It's worth having a read of the blog that went along with this video, because the guy actually wrote a mock content brief for it. And it was really funny because it's like, oh yeah, include somber music, you know, plinkety plonky music, mention the fact that, you know, we're here, tell them how long we've been in business, and you could tick off what each one was doing. So whilst individually, you know, lovely adverts, they were all very the same. So, you know, by creating a good content strategy and spending time thinking, you can avoid doing what everyone else is doing. Okay, so we're going to move on to looking at the who part, and this is your target audience. Okay, before you even think about putting a content strategy together, you have to think, who am I writing for? Who is my target audience? Without this, your content's never going to be as good as it could be. While thinking about target audience, you should be thinking about tone of voice, how you want to speak to them, how they want to be spoken to, USPs, ethos, and vision of your company or of the client that you're preparing the content strategy for. All of this could be a webinar or several webinars in themselves, so but I can't spend too long on them here. But basically, you need to have these things down before you can create a really successful content strategy. So moving on to another video, this one I think was hugely more successful in the response to COVID. A much lower budget has been spent on this, as you'll see. It's a very quick video, however, it stays really true to the Tesco brand. And it just shows that sometimes simpler and thinking a little bit differently can really pay off. So let's just have a little watch of this one as well.
Here's some little helps for safer shopping.
To help limit the number of people in store at once, you might be asked to queue when you arrive. Stand 2 meters apart. The markings on the ground will help.
There'll be a cleaning station to clean a trolley or basket.
Markers will help you keep 2 meters from each other. Please do keep to them.
The screen is to help protect us and you.
So we'll pay by card where you can.
These are here to help you shop as safely as you can, because now, more than ever, every little helps.
Okay, so yeah, we see there such a simple video, but very, very true and in line with the Tesco brand. You know, shot in their stores, potentially even with their own employees. You know, there was nothing fancy about it, very no frills. But all the way up, right through to the end, it was true to their brand and their vision, and their tone of voice. You know, now more than ever, every little helps. Their slogan. And this was actually part of some research by Kantar.
Here's some little helps for safer shopping.
Again. And they compared lots of different, they did some research into lots of different COVID response adverts. And this was one of the ones that came out on top, along with, I think Guinness did a great one, Aldi. And out of a score of 100, it scored 89 for long-term return potential, 92 for short-term sales likelihood, 100 out of 100 for brand memorability, and 91 for creating warmth and love for the brand. Now, personally, at the beginning of lockdown, when we were being told not to leave our house, this Tesco advert would have given me a lot more reassurance than, you know, an advert that's cost tens and tens of thousands of pounds that's telling me that they're there for them, because that they're there for us, because they weren't really, to those other adverts in the earlier video, they didn't really say how, whereas Tesco here is showing us how. And that's really important. When you're thinking of ideas, think of what your customers need. And what we needed as Tesco customers at that point was to be told how to shop, because we didn't know how to shop in a global pandemic, and it was really daunting. But watching an advert like this creates reassurance, creates warmth, creates love for the brand. So this is just a contrast with the other videos, that this very short and simple but worked really well. Okay, so now we're moving on to the what, the why, and the where. So first of all, we're going to have a look at what, which is the ideation, how to come up with ideas and keep coming up with ideas. And then we'll move on to the why and the where. The why, you know, what's the purpose of your content, and the where, how can you repurpose it to use it more than once to get maximum value out of it. Okay, so first we're just going to have a look at ways that you can come up with these ideas. It can be really draining trying to come up with loads of ideas, one week after another. It's another reason why it's really good to block some time off and think. Everybody is caught up running their own business, you know, providing, you know, if you're working in an in-house marketing team at an agency or a company, you're constantly trying to come up with ideas time and time again, and it can get draining. However, if you block off time to think, go to your best thinking spot, whether that's at your desk, whether it's at a cafe, whether it's having a walk in the park, whatever it is, but go to that place that really sort of gives you some inspiration, and just spend some time, block it out in your diary and think about it, and think, what do my customers want to see? It's very easy to get quite sort of insular in your own business, in your own role, but you really need to just keep thinking outside of that, and keep thinking, what does my target audience need to know, want to know, what will be useful for them. Another way is ask them, ask people in your network, ask all around you for ideas. What do people want to know? What do people need from you? So never be afraid to actually ask. Look at your competitors. I know that it splits camps that you shouldn't, but some people say you should. I think you should. Certainly not to copy, never copy. However, you can really gain inspiration of what to do and what not to do. You know, you might see something that you love and it inspires an idea that you could use yourself, but in a different way, so that it's your own. Or it can show you what you don't want to do, that someone's done something, you can see it's really not worked, and you're not gonna go down that road. Keyword research depends on budget as to how in depth this is, but either you can, if you're savvy like that, you can do it yourself, you can hire someone to do it for you. You can do very basic keyword research on looking at what people are searching on Google. Google News alerts are really good, so you sign up, notifications, all your preferences, and you get news delivered to your inbox for the different subjects that you might be creating content about. Something like a Facebook group, I mean, it could be on a different platform. Someone in one of my networking groups recently did this. She started a Facebook group about fertility. Didn't really take off very well, so she left it for a while, went back in and found that there were so many questions that had been asked, and she actually used those questions to then write an ebook. And this falls into the purpose and repurpose section as well. But by having a place like a Facebook group or some community group where people can ask questions about your areas of expertise, that's a great way to collate ideas for your content, because you will be delivering exactly what they want. So something like a Facebook group is something to really give some thought to. And then just another great little tool is Swipe File. It's used by loads of marketeers that kind of go on, and you can search anything and just get loads of ideas, again, good, bad, indifferent, but it's something that can really get those inspirational juices flowing. You've got some ideas of how to come up with these ideas, but I can't say enough that thinking and just thinking of something different, something that you can do that is different from what other people that your competitors do. These are 3 that we've used in our Wordy Wednesday posts. So every Wednesday we post on LinkedIn and Twitter with Wordy Wednesday. And these are 3 that we use for tone of voice. 3 companies that we really like, that have done something different. Their whole sort of ethos and visions and tone of voice stands out very much from the crowd. So on the left hand side we've got Oatly, that makes vegan products, and this is their oat milk. And I especially like this photo of the side of their packet. Another side of our packaging, providing no reason at all why you should try it. I just love it because it makes me laugh. For me personally, humour works for a lot of people. If you can inject something like that, your personality, into what you're doing, then you will create a much better connection with your target audience. So Cards Against Humanity, another one, it's either you love it or you hate it. I don't think I've ever met anyone that hates it, but I'm sure there are people. A party game for horrible people. Who would have said that would have worked? But of course it works, because it's true to their brand. And they get, they have made so much money off basically telling people that they're horrible because they like their game. The game's outrageous, so's their content. But again, it's true to their brand and what they're doing. So it really works. Third one, who gives a crap toilet paper? Other toilet paper that you might buy in the supermarket, cellophane wrapper, maybe with a picture of the Andrex dog on if you buy posh toilet paper. But again, they're all very, very samey on the toilet paper shelf. It all looks very same, very much the same. Who gives a crap? Obviously, they're an eco company. They come wrapped in lovely little, lovely paper packaging, but they've got great content on there too, and they've got content on every single toilet roll. So please do more 1s and 2s. Give yourself a pat on the bum. They're all really, really great touches, but it's well thought out. Someone has given that proper time to think. They've dared to be a bit different. And what really shines through with these 3 examples and many other companies is the personality behind it. And if you go on their websites, then it's consistent, and that is really key, that the ideas, the tone of voice that you use, that they should be consistent. So that brings us to the end of the who section, and we're going to go on to the what, where and what, why and where section, which takes us on to purpose and repurposing. Now, I'm just going to make myself a little bit big so that I can cover some of this while I talk to you. I used to be a teacher of English as a foreign language. Now, part of the training for that was to get as much value from one exercise as you could. Reasons being, made lesson planning a whole lot easier, gave real value for the students, and saved on photocopy costs. I see content as very similar to that you create a piece of content and then you get as much value in as many different ways as you can from that piece of content. That in itself will save you lots of time, but the end result is, excellent value content that will be really useful for your target audience. So I've created a little spider diagram here to kind of illustrate what I mean by that. Whoop. So we're going for a blog as an example. A blog, I'm sure many have done it, that you write the blog, you put it on your website, you post on social media that you've written your blog, and then it kind of fades into the background. This really shouldn't happen and doesn't have to happen, and actually it'll make everyone's life easier if you get as much out of that blog as you possibly can. So you write a blog, you then post it on social media with a promo post. Here's our latest blog, and at least I would say you should be posting a couple of quotes from it as well. You know, blogs can include stats, quotes from other people, you know, anything that you see as a lovely short snippet could go out as another couple of social posts. Now these can be in the same week, they could be over a space of 2 weeks, they could even be over the space of a few weeks or months. You can constantly keep coming back to this blog and driving people back to your website. However, also from a blog you could create an infographic. I'm going to go through some tools that are really useful for this type of thing in shortly, but you could create an infographic which then of course can be posted out on social media. You could possibly create an infographic and or a video. This is all stemming from the one central blog. If you have a newsletter, you can include that blog in your newsletter so that it connects even more people to that blog and back to your website. If you're going to be doing some other a different type of campaign, a direct mail campaign, maybe that blog can be included in that direct mail campaign. And of course, once you start doing this, they all start interlinking together. An infographic can also go, or a video can also go be part of a direct mail campaign or the follow-up to a direct mail campaign. Direct mail campaigns should be talked about on social media as well. So you can just see that from one blog, you can get so much content and so much value out of it by using it in different ways. So there are lots and lots of really useful tools to be able to do this. From a design point of view, I'm a huge big fan of Canva. I love Canva. It's growing all the time and they're adding new functions all the time. So you can really come up with something that is a really decent design if it's not your area of expertise, by using a tool like Canva. Venngage is another one that's really good for infographics. Video wise, we've got Loom and Soapbox that are really good for doing little videos, explainer videos, things like that. You've got Lumen 5, which is great for blog posts. It's actually quite intuitive that it can take your content and then turn it into a video. You can mess about with it yourself as well, but they've got great imagery, and they do make it very easy to make one of these little these little videos that can be used from a blog to further that content. And then Bonjour is another great one for personalized videos. There's an app, and it can be great fun. Bonjour, just recording a little video to send to someone. Social media. One of the great tools for scheduling out social media is Content Cal. So when you've written that blog and you post your social media post, you can get into Content Cal so that it all goes out automatically for you. So the main message here really is that every single piece of your content should have a purpose, because if you don't have a purpose for writing it, then there's almost no point in writing it. What do you want to achieve? Is it brand awareness? Is it a proper, quite a hard sales piece that you want a certain return off it? Really think about why you're creating that content. And then once you've got the purpose for that main piece of content, then think about how you can repurpose it. And again, for every time you repurpose it, there's got to be a reason for repurposing it. So, a written blog, some people prefer the written word, but Other people will prefer a quick infographic snapshot of the content of that blog. Some people like to, you know, marry them both together. You get the basics, and then you want to dig a bit deeper, so you click on the blog. So you've really got to think about why you're writing your content, but also how can you use it to its absolute max and get as much value out of it as possible. Just as an example to finish off this section, we wrote a blog for an IT support company earlier in the year. They wanted to talk about the biggest threats of 2020, and that came out to be ransomware. And then we decided that we wanted a video to be one of the ways that we repurposed this blog. Using Lumen 5, this was the end result. Okay, so that was, yeah, just one example of this, but yeah, purpose, repurpose, and once you do this, you'll actually find that the final stage of this, which is the when section of actually getting it onto a content schedule, is actually a lot easier than you'd expect, because one piece of content creates so many other pieces of content. What I would advise is that you use workflows. Now, however you create your workflows, obviously that depends on how you work. You know, Asana can be great for this. But for each piece of content, if you follow a workflow, then it's a lot more likely to get done. Again, it goes back to that thing of ticking things off a list. So I've just got a couple of examples here for you. So if you're writing a blog, or, you know, pretty much all at the same time, research and write your blog, write and schedule the social media posts that you want, so that you've got a document with the blog, with your social media posts, be that 2, 3, you know, maybe even 4, that you can spread out over a period of time. If you're doing an infographic or a video, get those done at the same time. And also write a paragraph for your newsletter, so that it's there at the end of the month, and you can just pop it in with the link to the blog. So all of that is done, and it can go out to the relevant people on the relevant platforms really easily then. This is a workflow for a direct mail campaign. So once you've got all your content written for the direct mail campaign, we tend to follow a workflow of, before you send out the direct mail, you connect with the recipients on LinkedIn, so they've already seen your face. Then you send out your direct mail, they receive it thinking, oh yeah, I got a request off them on LinkedIn. or any other platform, of course. Then you follow up with a little video via email, Bonjoro, whichever, whatever tool you choose, but a little personalized video is a really nice way to follow up on that. And then a little further down the line, you touch base again with them with an email with some, really relevant and useful content, such as a blog article that you've written. So those are just a couple of examples, but the main point is get it all done together rather than thinking, okay, well, I'll write the letter for my direct mail, and then the next week I'll do this, and then the next week I'll do that part, because reality is life takes over and business takes over. So get as much done in that one content creation sitting, if you will, as you can. So now we're going to come on to the actual scheduling, and I'm going to share a tool that I've created and that I use. Before we go over to it, this is one example of how you could create a content schedule. This is by no means the definitive content schedule, because I don't really think that exists. You've really, all the clients that you're writing for or yourself, it depends on each different company, what their goals are, where they're going as to the content schedule. So, please don't take this as the definitive content schedule. Yours might look very different, but this is one example of how you can go about it. So I'm going to stop the share here and take you over to the screen you share. Okay, here we go. So I think a 3-month content schedule is a really nice thing to work towards. You can do longer, obviously. However, things can change, as we've said. And it may be that if you do it for too long, then I think there's a bit of a risk that you're going to have to redo it. Whereas 3 months, although yes, something can always change, that means that you have to adapt. 3 months is a really nice chunk for you to work to. So here, this covers 3 months. And let's take October for an example. Now, maybe you've decided that you're going to do fortnightly blogs. So in weeks 1 and 3, you've got your fortnightly blogs. From your ideation work and section, then you can fill in these blog titles with the relevant subjects that you want to cover. It's really nice if there's links between the blogs, because then you can share internal links on your site and refer people backwards and forwards to the different blogs that you've written. So it's really nice to have some continuity there. So I would say if you're doing weeks 1 and 3 on blogs, weeks 2 and 4 should be spent doing some other form of content. Week 4 is a really nice newsletter week if you do newsletters. It can be, a sum up of the end of the month, so it's a really good time to do it. So you can put those in and decide that week 2 of each month is going to be your week for something different. That can be a whole list of things. I've put a little drop-down menu in here. So from direct mail, podcast, webinar, sales email, lots of different options there. But just for this example, we'll say that you're going to do a direct mail. So instantly, going into October, you're going to need two blog posts written, a direct mail campaign, and a newsletter. So from this, obviously, you're going to then create lots more content, because you're going to repurpose each piece of content. So your blogs, for example, here's your social media platform, platform 1. Now you can replicate that into as many platforms as you want. And again, I've got a little drop down menu here with all different types of posts that you could put. Again, it's not definitive. There'll be lots of other ones that you might want to include. So if you've written a blog, then you should certainly be promoting that blog. So a social media post on a content promo. Okay, and then probably we're going to have one of those each week. Okay, because if you're creating content each week, promote it each week. Okay. Now I've put 5 in here. They could be one a day if you want to post once a day. If, you know, for different platforms, you might want to post 5 times in a day. Again, this can be adapted to make it work for you. So if you've done a blog, then maybe you've done a video. So maybe in that same week, we will post out that video or infographic. The following week, maybe from this blog again, maybe we'll have a quote. Okay, and possibly again the next week. It could even be down here in November that you pull people back into that blog because it's so relevant and it's still relevant. But just so that it's easy to see on screen, we'll put it here. Okay, and then you can sort of start thinking about what else you want to do. Obviously, for every blog, you kind of repeat this, that you get out your social, you have quite a few social posts, as well as any other content you do. So here we've got direct mail, we've got podcasts, we've got an ebook at the end of the year, which is a really nice way to bring some of your content together. So you can see that this is quite quickly filling up, but have a think. Is there something you'd like to do on a weekly basis? For example, let's say this counts for 1 a day, and on a Friday you think it might be nice to do what I like to call a get a giggle post. End of the week, people want something a bit more light-hearted, so maybe on a Friday you can start doing get a giggle posts and people will start looking forward to them at the end of the week. And around this, obviously, you can plan in all different types of social media activity. This is not a social media strategy or full schedule. You may have a lot of other things going on separately to this, but this is purely to show you that when you create content with a real purpose, with your target market in mind, then it can be repurposed and shared out in a lot of different ways to cater for all the differences in your target market, the people who like to read, the people who like to watch a video, the people who like to look at an infographic. And also it can really up your social media presence, which is absolutely brilliant in keeping you fresh in people's minds, that when someone does need a copywriter, then hopefully it's us that they think of. So it's all about being consistent, and consistent in 2 ways. Consistent in the amount of content that you get out, that kind of have that social media presence, have the blogs going out, have that's something different each month. If you do something different each month for content, people are going to notice you, because you will unequivocally be doing something that your competitors aren't. Even if they're doing great content, if you're doing lots of different ideas, then you will get noticed. And you also need the consistency of your tone of voice, your visions, your ethos. Get your personality through with all of that. Keep it consistent, and then you will be remembered. And this, throughout the webinar, we've gone through different sections that you can build this up so that it isn't a complete headache. Yes, it takes time and it takes effort, but done in the right way, it can actually be quite a simple and really sort of gratifying process, because you will see the returns of it. I'm very willing to share this link. It's a Google Sheets document, so if it's something that you feel that you can use, then I'll give you my details at the end here, and if you want me to send it over to you, then just drop me a message, email, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever, and I'll happily send you over a personalized link so that you can kind of adjust this to make it work for you. Like I say, there isn't a definitive content strategy because there are so many things that depend on it. So yeah, this is completely customizable, but it should make it really easy to see how you can plan forward, get you 3 months down, make sure you're doing different things and get consistent content out there. Right, we're just going to hop back over to the presentation. Oop, not that one. Okay, so to summarize now, we've looked at target audience, and the fact that you really need to give yourself time to think, and think about what they want. It is about what they want, and the main thing is thinking about ways that you can really create that connection with them. Then we've looked at ideation, different ways of coming up with ideas. Purpose and repurposing, getting the ultimate value out of each piece of content that you create, and putting all that together in a schedule. So by following these steps, hopefully you can quite quickly get a solid content schedule together. Like I say, very willing to share. So if you drop me a message, I will be more than happy to send over personalized links to the strategy document. You can send a message through my website, crescentcopywriting.com, email hello@crescentcopywriting.com, or you can find us on LinkedIn and Twitter. So I hope you found all that very, very useful. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the week for Marketed Delight. I know that BizPaul has got lots of excellent things lined up for us. So yeah, any questions, any feedback, always very willing to hear it. So yeah, get in touch, and I hope to hear from you soon.